guys, it's April and it is the middle of December, which means there are only about 2.5-ish weeks left for the year. I am kind of in shock about how quickly this year has gone so far, but not surprised at the same time. There's just been so much going on that I think my perception of time has just shifted a little bit. And so this month I have been doing Vlogmas, and so far it's been going really well. I've actually been keeping up with it, which is kind of surprising. I really wasn't expecting myself to do so well, but I've been having fun planning out what I'm doing and deciding what I'm going to put up each day. I have a backlog and a list and it's a complete mess, but I'm enjoying it. I might do it again sometime. Maybe I'll do Veda. I don't know. That's clear off in the future for 2018. It's something that might happen, but I'm enjoying it so far. Tell me down below what you think of the Vlogmas experience so far, and if there's anything that I haven't done yet that you really want to see before Christmas comes around, let me know. Also, I want to remind all of you guys that the final round of voting is going on now for the YA Booktube Awards. There is a list of the top nominated books in each categories where you can choose and select which books you think should actually make the final rounds of the YA Booktube Awards. Of course, this year I am once again judging both retellings category and the sci-fi category. Those are two of my favorite genres to read, so I'm really excited to see what ends up being the final cut for these books. I've been reading some of the stuff that has been nominated, trying to catch up a little bit on some of the things that I apparently have missed this year. And it's been quite an experience, but like I said, I can't wait until the live shows roll around and I get to discuss some of these books with some pretty wonderful people. I will link all the information down below. In case you haven't voted yet and you haven't joined the giveaway, I recommend that you put yourself in the giveaway because who can say no to free books? Just saying. So now for the real reason that you are here, and that is for the wrap-ups of the books that I have read for the first part of this month. This is my stack right here, and this is not even half of what I read. I'm missing a few books from here, but I promise that I had a great reading 2 weeks. I am actually really catching up with where I wanted to be at the end of the year, and I'm kind of excited about it. So I finally got around to picking up When Dimple Met Rishi. This book has been on my radar for the longest time. I'm not a huge contemporary reader, but when I found out what the synopsis of this book was, I had to have it. This is the story of Dimple, who is very much in the programming development world, which I understand because that is kind of where I live, but her parents are very traditional Indians. Her mother is very adamant that she meets a husband and she gets married and she has the kids and the whole 9 yards, and so they secretly kind of set her up with Rishi, but she doesn't know it. So when Dimple decides to go off to a summer program centered around web development, they send Rishi along too, so the two of them can meet and decide that they actually maybe like each other. Like I said, I was really excited about the premise of this because the web development world is where I live. I do like cute romance stories sometimes, so this was right up my alley. I did enjoy it, however, I was expecting more of the web development littered throughout this. It was kind of a side story that took place. You didn't actually get to see a lot of the nitty-gritty part of programming and all of that kind of stuff. I also found it interesting that the program was touted as web development, but the project was to make an app, and that can mean a whole bunch of different things. And this is just me getting really, really technical. Was it a web app? Was it a mobile app? What kind of app was it? You know, there are so many different things that go into that kind of concept, but it was all just kind of glossed over and generalized in a way that just made me a little sad. You can see where the love story is going to go with this, and I did enjoy it, but it wasn't really that exciting either. Overall, I did like it, but it's probably not something I'd pick up again. I also picked up Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan. This is the story of Nina, who is losing her library job and doesn't know what to do next. So she decides that she is just gonna buy this random van in Scotland and start a bookstore out of it. This is pretty much Nina's adventure as she goes on this journey of buying this van, filling it with books, and meeting all of these new peoples, deciding what she's going to do with life, finding her calling, and a little love scattered in as well. I enjoyed it so much. It came to me at just the right time. I needed this kind of fluff. It's a bookish fluff. It's a love story that I understand. It was so cute. I think that was the biggest thing. It was a very cute read and I truly, 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 truly enjoyed it. Now, would I ever have the guts to just decide to buy a van and sell books? Probably not. But I have always dreamed about working in a bookstore, so I understand. I understand where Nina is coming from. And then I had to get into the Christmas spirit and read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas by Clemency Moore. Me reading the story is part of a project that will be coming to this channel the night before Christmas. So you can look forward to that. That is going to be a thing. I don't know if I really need to explain what this little poem slash story is. It is basically about the night before Christmas and Santa. And then I picked up Shadow House by Dan Pawlowski. I did a full review over this book because it just hit me in the right place. I will link it in case you're interested in more words by my face. This is the story about kids who end up at Larkspur and odd things begin to happen right away. It is creepy, it is eerie. I really, really, truly enjoyed it. And the best part of this read is that there is a supplementary app that goes along with the story. So every time you find a symbol in this book, you will input it in this app and you will get another side story that explains a little bit more about the backstory of what is going on in this manor house place. It brought me back to the Are You Afraid of the Dark days of my life, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's a great middle grade horror read. And if you like that kind of thing, I highly recommend that you pick this up. I am looking forward to reading the next books in this series. I need to get my hands on them. And then I was recommended The Signalman by Charles Dickinson. It is a short story. It is a short, eerie, bizarre, weird story. I really enjoyed it. I don't know how to give a synopsis of a short story without spoiling a lot of the short story. As I started reading it, I started getting flashbacks of the story and realized that I'd actually read it once before. I don't even remember when. I did like rereading it, and I think at this point I need to pick up more of Charles Dickens' work. I haven't actually read a whole lot. I want to pick up more of his short stories just so I can get a feel. I need more of that in my life. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I also picked up John Charrington's Wedding by E. Nesbit. This is another short story that is in the realm of the weird and the bizarre and just the off-the-wall kind of short stories that I really, truly enjoy, and I need to add more of them into my life, so that is something that I'm probably going to try and do more of next year. I had never read this one before, and I found that I really, really, really liked it. It was cute in an odd way. I liked it. Let's just say I liked it. I'll leave it at that. I also picked up Dying Breath by Heather Graham. This is another one of the Crew Hunter novels where you have crimes being solved by people who can see and interact with the paranormal. Most of the time is they can see and interact with the dead, which is really why I like this series. This, I think, is number 21 in the overall story arc of this whole Crew Hunters universe. And this one is centered around a serial hunter who likes to kidnap people and then taunt the police. This is, of course, one of my guilty pleasures that I just like to pick up every once in a while and read because it doesn't take a lot of mental power, but I still like a lot of the concepts inside of it. I like Ghost. It's a thing. And so I like this. And then I decided I needed some rereads in my life, and because I had just finished The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman, I wanted to get back into that universe. Something about it was just calling me back in, and I decided to pick up Once Upon a Time in the North. This is the story of Lee and Oric and how they met, and they are some of my favorite characters in the whole His Dark Material series. So this is why I picked it to reread. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first time around. This might become a tradition of me rereading this book. I can see that happening. So my roommate's boyfriend loaned her out the first 2 volumes of The Walking Dead. She left them on the side table in the living room, and I decided to randomly pick them up because I was sitting there and it was there. This is sometimes what happens. So I read the first 2 volumes of The Walking Dead. This is the graphic novel version of it, of course. I really like the illustration style within these graphic novels. I am not a big zombie person, so a lot of the times when it got to the zombie parts of the story, I was reading a lot quicker and maybe not paying so much close attention onto what was happening in each of the panels. Overall, it is an interesting plot. Will I continue? Maybe. If it's set in front of me, I'll pick it up and I'll read it. It's not something that I will track down for myself, though. Not in the least. Zombies. And since I am getting married next year and my fiance gave me the 5 love language, I decided it was probably a good idea to actually read it. Right? self-improvement and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of interesting concepts inside of this book and what the different type of love languages are. I kind of understand a lot of my things and tics and all of that because of this, and a lot of course, his loves and tics and things. I think it is something that I will probably reference back for a while just to see if it helps in any way. I don't know. How do you explain these? I mean, how do you wrap up something like this in your wrap up? It's a book about how you show love. The end. And last but not least, I read Hunted by Megan Spooner. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but set in the Russian wilderness. I seem to have read a lot of Russian things recently. In this story, Yeva is very much the son that her father never had. He taught her to hunt and track and all of those things. So when the point comes where dad has lost his fortune and they have to live out in the middle of the Russian wilderness, Yeva is there to help with the hunting and bringing in the food and supporting the family. And then one day her dad goes missing and she goes looking for them and she is kidnapped by the Beast. This follows the traditional Beauty and the Beast storyline, which I always appreciate, and I do like how self-sufficient Yeva is. There were a lot of other tells in the story of where some of the other love stories within inside of it were going to go, so I wasn't overly surprised when certain things happened. There wasn't anything truly that stood out in my mind about this read. I did like the shift in setting and how Yeva took more on of the hunting aspect of everything and how they tied back in some of the Beast stories into some of the Russian folklore. I like that a lot, but the development of the love story between Beauty and the Beast could have been slightly more developed than it was. There was a drastic change in opinions at a certain point, and it didn't feel like that was explored as much as it could have been, but I really did enjoy reading this story. So that is how the reading has gone so far this month. I'm really liking how this year is wrapping up. Tell me down below what your favorite read so far this year has been, and don't forget to go vote for your favorite books of the year and enter the giveaway. I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.